My very first trainer was Tony Yotto, a Spanish guy. He was like real good in the martial arts, but he was real mean. He was the kind of guy that would take the glove and slap you in your face if you were, wrong. So I was a runaway and I was an abused kid. So I didn't take to that kind of behavior. The technique was all great, all that. That's awesome. But for some reason, I was too intimidated. And we had like six trainers in that gym. It was called Dempsey's Neutral Corner. It was at Jasper and Westmoreland Street in Kensington, right? Big 4-leaf clover on the building. But Wesley was an old man that was like a grandfather to all of us in there. He knew you were going through something. He didn't condemn you. He didn't criticize you. He always had a nurturing way. And then, all them years that I knew him, I heard he was great because I'm going counts to counts. You got no way to research this guy. I don't really find out till years and years go by, and I'm able to start finding out that, all the stuff he did with Bon Montgomery, he was considered one of the greatest lightweights in the world, and he got thumbed in the eye and it got a detached retina, and that ended his career. But then he went and became a trainer, and he would do charity work where he would help save all the kids in the neighborhood, give them free rent in the gym, people like me, and let me sleep there sometimes. And the pros and real amateurs who boxed were the ones that had to pay. It was only $15 a month for amateurs and $25 for the pros. You want to know what the list of pros were in there?
Yeah, tell us.
Tony Thornton, Brian Payton, Myron Taylor. Meldrick Taylor used to come all the time, but he had already left and went with Lou Duve after he left Willie Rush over there at Front Street, which used to be called Cambria Gym on Clearfield Street. Right? That's a lot of history. But we had Tim Witherspoon came just to beat up that guy from Florida, Milton Bowen, which I told you about before. Mm-hmm. That's a dynamic story because that's when you really learn a Philly shell like no other with that overhook bomb that he used to throw. But me and Wesley just hit it off because he knew I was a broken kid. He knew I was a runaway. And so he just followed me. And that's how I got close to him because the other trainers were mean. And I just kind of gravitated towards his gentleness. And then he took what was broken in me and always made me spar all his great champions. So I was the rag doll and the guy to be around all that. And you're banging and you're going here. And then we had like these smoker matches. And then we had the gym wars where the guy like Slim Jim Robinson's gym, he'd bring the big fat Italian guy to come beat me up. I was 147 pounds. I'm 16. This dude's 23 years old, like 230. And they kept saying, don't. And they called me Slim because I was so skinny. All the guys in the gym, no white guys. I'm the only white guy in there. And you know how the black guys are so cool to you, right? Especially when you can fight. Be like, yo, Slim, you got him. You can whip his fat ass. Fuck that man. And they're saying bad stuff. And I'm acting like, yeah, I can do it. I beat this guy for 3 straight rounds, smashed his whole face. Both eyes were closed. And I was too afraid to throw the right hand. So I did all that with just the jab, just the movement here and there. It's all because of Wesley. Wesley was the kind of guy that made you shadow box in the mirror for 6 months. And if you didn't make him see you look like a fighter there, you got no reason to try to convince him to look like a fighter on the bag. What's the point? You see a lot of that in today's gyms, He educated me, man. I feel like I'm above everybody in that world. They spar without headgear. They spar without Vaseline. They let uneven people fight in their gyms, and they're giving the guys concussion. And you go, yo, he ran that like he was a grandfather. You were none of that grab ass and shit he used to call it. You can't be bringing girls. No girls were allowed in the gym. You weren't allowed to fool around. When you were in the gym, it was straight work or you're gone. It was just that. That's how it was. And you respected it, man, because the only thing that was coming in and out of Dempsey's gym was high material. Vinny Borghese out of South Philly used to come there and have sparring wars with Myron Taylor. And I'm sitting there taking that all in going, wow, like, are you kidding me? Wesley was the kind of guy that I don't see talk today. I'm sure now they're all going to see it. But when you slip side to side and you get in, boom, 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 he don't teach you to come back like Tony Thornton. Boom, boom, boom. Here, tie up, push. I don't back up after I throw my shot. I hit here, I come in, I clinch, I push, and I keep going and I smother you. So now you got to shove me off to fight me now. But if I 1-2 you and I back out, now I give him the chance to do something. And that was Wesley's mind. Get in, here, stay there. Stay there and be so elusive that the guy don't want to be that close to you. And then look at Lomachenko. He's that guy. He'll 1-2 and he stays right in your face. And you go, that's how Wesley taught all of us. The only thing is I'm a big, tall guy, 6'2". I didn't play that style, but I know it because I was forced to learn it when I was shorter. Pretty awesome stuff, dude, right?
I see a lot of that stuff now in a lot of the local Philly gyms. Guys teach that no backing up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, you can't. Or you just got what you
It's
got in MMA. You notice they come forward and they go back. They come forward, they come back. You don't see the guy hit, move, hit. Don't be in the same place. And they don't really do that because they worry about the kicks and the throws. But I've done Muay Thai ever since I joined the Fight Factory. I'm not a Muay Thai fighter, but I've done it for so long that a really great friend of mine, Steve McCabe is his name. He owns a great gym in, it's called Brookhaven, PA. It's called Studio X. He's a great guy to go to. If you're looking for a great Muay Thai coach, he's the best. He was a guy that was all over the place. You couldn't get near him. You went to kick him, he'd slide over here and kick you in the leg. So like all these guys that I got to influence even at the Fight Factory, all those guys were great fighters too. So going from Wesley's greatness, I took it and I handed it to everybody at the Fight Factory. That's the reason that gym blew up so quick when Eddie Alvarez finally walked through the door, because everything that was getting handed down to them guys that I knew from Wes.
So by the time you walked into the Fight Factory, you were pretty much a finished product, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You had the boxing, the grappling,
Had the
essentially,
judo,
right?
had the judo. Yeah, yeah. By the time I had got to Steve with the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, because I left judo to do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I believe that was '99. So I was like doing it for like 3 years before I went there. I think I started Steve's at like beginning of January of 2001.